This week on Waxing the Porpoise, G-Baby and the usual suspect Steve welcome back special guest, Rob Zombie enthusiast and friend of the show, the Wintergreen Zebra himself, Hydraberg, from A Cut Above Horror Review, to examine Ben Wheatley's hauntingly violent UK crime thriller melange from 2011, Kill List. Join us as we discuss Trailer Swift, Hydra's deep lust for exposition, no kink shaming here, director Ben Wheatley's cult film leanings amidst this very cult-like film, and finish off with a fun anecdote from Harrison Ford, another of the highly esteemed patron saints of the porpoise. The porpoises, midnight companions and keen observers, guide us through the depths of human depravity, exploring the thin line between hero and monster in this underseen gem.
He was about 4 years older than me. He always called me boy. Oh, boy.
Let's wax this alchemical porpoise.
Chase, don't do that.
See, we working on his brow chakra. We're just in back of the crown chakra.
All right, welcome to Waxing the Porpoise. We are back after taking a little week respite off. We're here with episode 71, Kill List from 2011. Tonight, you got myself, Jim G. Baby.
He's got friends in every town and village from here to the Sudan. He speaks a dozen languages, knows every local custom. He'll blend in, disappear. You'll never see him again. With any luck, he's got the grail already.
Does anyone here speak English?
I'm so glad you kept that part on.
That's the part that sends it home. I was like, this is too long, but I don't give a fuck. So, and of course, we have the usual suspect, Steve.
And one more thing, be nice to the delivery guy, would you? It's not his fault he can't read.
How's it going, man?
They're not scrawny. They're nice. Doing good.
Hip hop anonymous.
Apparently his teeth are made of wool.
You always give him the easy ones.
Prove it.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. And as you've heard, also we have back once again from A Cut Above, Hydraberg. How's it going, man?
What's up? What movie is that from? That's Paul Dano?
Yeah, that's the new the Batman.
Okay, yes. I was thinking
That's when
Prisoners.
Batman knows the jig is up, and
That's
he's like,
true,
"What
yeah,
the
and he
fuck
locked
did you
up.
do?" And he does that creepy rendition of Ave
Yeah.
Maria.
He's a creepy dude.
Yeah, dude, he is. Paul Dano's fucking wild. He puts himself out there.
Yeah,
I'll
he's
say, like,
good
he gets
actor,
into. Yeah. Have you ever seen? I can't remember if we've asked this. There Will Be Blood, Steve.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I don't think I have.
Oh,
Man,
Steve.
that's such a good one. I
If,
think
if
you'd
so,
like
it would have
It's
been
good.
back like, I don't know. Did that come out like 05, 06?
it. No, a little bit later.
It's like
I
the
think
same
it
year
was-
as No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, it was all in that new No Country era.
And
it
I
probably
must
just
not
got-
have, because I feel like I'd remember it.
Yeah, it's good. Fucking
Yeah, he's
good.
like what? He's like a religious zealot, right?
Yeah.
Hardcore. Sorry, my dog.
I mean,
almost
he's awesome in Prisoners, which we did an episode on. Super fucking creepy.
Yeah, he plays like, yeah, he gets into his fucking characters like 1,000%. I feel like, but yeah, he's real good in. Yeah, is the what's his name? I can't remember, but yeah, he doesn't shy away from Daniel Day-Lewis. He holds his own and some, but yeah, we're here to talk about Kill List from 2011. And again, we have Hydraberg joining us. Do you want to plug A Cut Above real quick before we get started?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm 1/3 of the host of Cut Above Horror Review. It's a weekly horror movie review podcast. We've been up for about 2 years now. I have over 100 episodes. It's me, John, and Jacqueline. And yeah, geez, check us out if you want to just hear us talk about bullshit mention Rob Zombie, and and just dissect some movies.
A melange of different topics. Nice. Right on. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us. And this one isn't super horror, but it's got kind of an edge, or
There's an adjacency.
It gets sneaky in
there's a build-up.
certain part. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. I don't think either of you had seen this before.
I had never even heard of it.
Really? Okay.
Same
Yeah,
here.
I hadn't heard of it either. Like and then I come to find out this guy who directed it is like he seems like he's like the UK version of that dude who did Blue Ruin. You ever seen Blue Ruin? Either of you?
I haven't.
It's real good. It's like real kind of like, it feels like this movie, like indie shit that's like really like cuts to the bone. You know,
There's like a bleakness to that film.
Yeah,
The same way there is a little
they're
bit.
dark.
It's like a realistic sort of bleakness.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Blue Ruin's dope. I think he's done a few other things. I think he worked on Green Room also.
Yeah, he did.
Like he was a writer or producer maybe. So yeah, kind of pretty fucked up, like dark type stuff. That's
Murder Party as well. Not this director, but the director of Blue Ruin. Jeremy Saulnier.
Yeah,
I'm probably
it's like
butchering
French
it.
Canadian or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Sommelier.
He's a good director, eh?
Croissant.
But I had never really heard of the director on this film.
Ben Wheatley.
Yeah. It sounds
Yeah, I hadn't
familiar.
either. And I looked into him. I guess he's got kind of a cult thing going on. He's had like 4 or 5 movies that people really liked, like this one, A Field in England, which I didn't care for, but it's pretty
Free
weird.
Fire. That was a movie
Free
I did want
Fire.
to see. I think that's when they're all like in a room and it looks like a bunch of
it's
different
like
people mix it up.
It's like a
different
gun
hitmen or-
deal
Yeah.
gone wrong.
Gone
and
wrong,
it turns,
yeah.
that one's definitely more like a little bit more sleek. Like
Oh,
it's
Meg
got
2
some-
is his.
Yeah, and then I think he cashed in the credit he was building up, and someone offered him the Meg
He
2,
sold
and he was
out.
like,
Yeah,
"Fuck
that
yeah,
looks so bad.
yeah." I thought it looked cool in the fucking trailer, and then I was like, "That looks like a good just popcorn flick to go like with the nephew." Like
Yeah.
some of the shit in the
Yeah.
trailer
Yeah, I
built it
think
up,
so.
but
I've never seen
I
the
thought-
first one.
I never seen the first one either.
haven't
But I
either.
was like, I'd be willing to check that out and see.
There's
just
a
for the
moment
good.
in the Meg 2 trailer where Jason Statham literally like holds the Meg back with his foot, like
With
on
his-
the dock. And I'm like, damn, bro.
And then
That's
I saw
all
the
man
re-
right there.
the reviews are like in the basement, so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna shell something out that's got a 0 critic rating and like a 12% audience. So
This guy, Ben Wheatley, he directed A Field in England, which I've heard through the horror community. I've never seen it myself, but I've heard
it's
of
another horror adjacent. Like you could
Yeah.
probably put it in the same like level of horror as this one, but it's wildly different. There's like acid trips. It takes place in like 14th century England, and
Mm.
they're like on a medieval battlefield, and all this weird shit it's really hard to even
it.
describe.
Say less,
It's a pretty
dog. Say less.
it's a pretty abstract flick, but I think that one is like you're either gonna dig what he's trying to do or this is terrible and I hate it. I fell into the latter camp pretty much, but this one I think is his best in the 3 or 4 that I've seen. Steve, you'd never seen this. This was the first time. What'd you guys both think of it? Starting with you, Steve.
I liked it for sure. Usually
Nice.
I try to go in with as little knowledge as possible. For some reason, this one I had watched a preview, so I knew there was kind of like a weird culty undertone. So I was kind of waiting for that the whole time. But most of this movie is really just kind of like a straight up, just crime, thriller kind of. I know it's cheap to say, but kind of like a Snatch English kind of just these guys knocking around, assassins, cool shit. And then the culty stuff comes up later. But yeah, I liked it from beginning to end. There's definitely some weird shit, but yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Sweet. Let's see what that. I'll tabulate what that does to our average. What's your opinion of this one, Hydraberg?
I don't know. I'm curious how the conversation goes because I'm a little conflicted. I just watched it. It was my first time watch. I have some issues with it, but I'm like Steve too, where I did see the trailer, so I saw the little bit of a culty thing going on, and I was anticipating that, and I'm like, trying to figure out like, oh, I don't trust this bitch, or I don't, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I did enjoy parts of it, and I do like there's moments in the end that I really thought were interesting. Overall, it's not too bad. But I had some real issues too with some of the pacing and some other things that we can get into.
Yeah. I got my share of gripes about this one too. But I remember watching it for the first time blind, and I wish that could have been the case here, but
I watched the trailer and I was just like, oh, this looks interesting. I never heard of it. And it's an English film, so I do like catching up on some of the foreign films that I miss.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I think is definitely better served going in completely blind, not maybe even thinking about the dangle of like, ooh, there might be some cult shit going on. But I think that's how I watched it. It was like an IFC. It was like some cable channel, and I just stumbled along and watched it like years ago, and I was like, whoa, that was kind of a trip. And I didn't touch it for, I think probably this was only my second or third watch. But it kind of lulls, even with that said, it kind of lulls you into, because it's kind of a slow burn, and it focuses like on the family and then the job. So, and it's not till the end, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. It gets kind of Wicker Man territory here.
Yeah, well, we focused on Jay for the most part, and we see that like, yeah, he's like not working. He's not holding his own in his own home. He's not respected by his wife or his son sometimes.
Yeah, he's I don't know. I've never seen this guy in anything else. I thought he was pretty good, but you definitely don't like him. You think he's like a piece of shit. That's what I kind of thought. He's like, God, this guy's sorry. He's just, you don't have any background yet, but then you come to learn that he's like a former military guy, and he's got a hot temper.
We see a very different side of him when he's on the job.
Yeah, it's almost like it calms him, or like that's his element, like that he needs to be in.
It gives him purpose instead of being
because his character has a change when he's out and about, doing the job, to checking on the targets, and the violence and stuff doesn't scare him. You can tell he's well versed in things like that, guns and physical combat. And then I don't know, he starts kind of losing himself in this job.
Yeah, it's almost like the people behind all of this knew that, which we come to find later. I forgot how many like little pieces that come into play to add some spice to it are pretty cool.
Yeah, we mentioned like don't watch the trailer, like it could give you the cult thing, but they kind of give you the cult thing from the beginning. I mean,
yeah, they sprinkle it out very like subtly, which
we get that image in the beginning, which I got very Blair Witch kind of vibes of, like that drawing that we get in the very beginning, like before the title card. It reminded me of the stick figures.
What about the music? Did the music jump out to either of you? Like, this is kind of like, for this kind of film, it seemed a little out of place, but in a good way. I think that's what he was going for. I think it's meant
maybe to leave you like on edge a little bit without being like a horror tension sort of music, but it does creep. And there's this.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. Nothing really about the music stood out to me now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, really?
But
there was a couple points where it seemed haunting, like really like kind of not quite creepy, but kind of on the edge of haunting. And they put it in certain scenes where
they did.
It wasn't like throughout, but
like in the beginning, we get she makes a little carving on the back of the mirror, right in the bathroom or whatever it is. Yeah. And it looks like she takes some personal stuff. Like, was that makeup?
It was.
Or was that blood?
Yeah.
I couldn't. Where was the blood from? It was from her.
No, it's when he cut himself shaving, and like when the kid came in and like startled him. He cut himself shaving,
and she took that as a personal item. I guess.
Doesn't she like smell it? She kind of like balls it up and like does
and then
something.
She sticks it in her titty.
Yeah,
it's like the mucus queen is yours.
Yeah,
yeah.
Thanks. That's all I could think about when she like sniffs it and then puts it in her bra. Like, oh god.
Fucking Billy Madison, dude, that shit is awesome.
Yeah, and then there's the next morning. There's the rabbit carcass outside, or like entrails or whatever. And I don't know necessarily if that was the cat or if that was them part of their ritual of leaving like.
No, the first one was the rabbit, because that's when Jay, like, his wife Shell's like, oh, what's Daddy doing out there? She's like, oh, Daddy's showing off. Like he found the rabbit, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna cook it up and some onions and
I just wondered
garlic.
if it was part of their ritual, though, like leaving a dead carcass outside his house.
Oh
or
yeah,
something
definitely.
weird,
I think that
like
was for
cultish,
sure.
yeah.
That was like one of the first like nuggets, you know,
Mhm.
like besides
the
from making the
camera-
carving.
Maybe I just read into this something that wasn't there, but like the camera panned over to the kid at one point. I was like, oh, is this fucking kid who killed the rabbit? And then I think they kind of did a similar thing when they found the cat. I was like, what's wrong with this kid? Is he the one who's doing all this shit? But
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought about that, but yeah.
I also
Okay,
just don't
it's just
trust children in general. But
Yeah, the kid walks up to his dad while he's shaving and like slaps his back. Like,
yeah,
the fuck
He's
are you
like,
doing?
Ah, you fucker.
The very beginning too, like the wife, you could just like, man, like there's like this uncomfortableness whenever they're
Oh,
on screen
God.
together, and like
Yeah.
she hates him almost. Like you could see like she's like yelling at him, putting him down, and then like I get it. Like it's not like she's abusive in a way because you could tell that like he's obviously like a fuck up or like kind of down and out and not really pulling his own. He's wasting money and whatever. But
I feel like they're very similar the way they threw barbs. You know, like
Yeah.
he would get super intense and yell, and like she would, and like fucking bop, 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 beat him on the
at
back,
the dinner
you know?
table when they have the guests over, they're sniping each other.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
when the Wish Tim Roth comes over, his friend Gal, he reminded me of like a Wish Tim Roth. Like you ordered Tim Roth, but that's what came in the mail instead. You know?
Dude, don't
Like, it's
bag him,
not
my
quite
boy.
Tim Roth.
My boy Michael Smiley. I love
you
this
know,
guy.
you know who that
You
guy
know this
reminded me
dude?
of?
Who? Gal?
Yeah, the entire time I was watching this, and I was thinking about you, Jim, because I know you're going to agree with me. He looks half like the guy with the bowl cut from Big Bang, and half like the non-Steve Buscemi assassin in Fargo. Like if you just put those guys together.
Oh yeah, like so Peter Stormare is the guy from Fargo. And
Sure.
who was the first one you said?
The guy with the bowl cut from Big Bang.
Who the fuck is
Sheldon?
that?
No, the other, like the Jewish kid.
The Jewish kid? Yeah, okay, I guess. Because of his
I can't
nose.
Are you talking about
No,
Howard?
Yeah, Howard.
Okay.
Howard,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, he
For
does
all
have
you
shit.
listeners,
I don't know.
Look it up and send an email telling me how correct I am.
yeah.
Lucky bastard.
To be honest, I picked up Dollar Store Tim Roth vibes the entire time when he was on.
I could see that now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got room for
he's
a
got
third
Tim
in
Roth
there.
thing going on. But I like this guy a lot. He was a standout to me, and he was a source of like something to latch onto again, because I'd seen him in he plays like the computer guy, like the guy in the chair for Luther, Idris Elba.
Oh, really?
It's a BBC show.
Yeah,
He was
I'm
in
aware
like
of it. I wanna
17
catch it over there.
episodes. He was like when he had to come back and like needed something hacked or fucking like something
Oh, shit. I didn't recognize him from that.
technological. That
The
that was
guy in
his
the
guy.
chair.
Yeah, the guy in the chair.
That's a great show.
Gee, baby, if I
Yeah.
ever became a superhero, I would totally ask you to be my guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair. Nice. Yeah. I've already got like the layer set up. I got fucking
know,
4
that's what I'm
monitors
saying.
right
You're-
here. I
you're
got
ready to
everything
go.
all fucking. I'm ready to jack into the fucking mainframe. Yeah, this Michael. He was in Censor just recently too. He played that fucking super cooter like
Oh, the dude in the end.
actor. The one that gets brained
Oh,
by
okay.
the
I've
fucking.
only seen Censor
spoiler
once,
alert.
but I bought it recently from Vinegar Syndrome. They put out like a sick fucking slipcase, fucking steel box, Blu-ray, X-rays, whatever. No, it's a cool slipcover though.
Yeah, next time you watch it, you'll notice him in it. He's really
Yeah, I was
good.
thinking about picking it for one of the episodes of Cut Above. I also recognize the wife is from The Descent. She looked familiar.
Yeah,
When I
she
looked her up,
plays.
she was in The Descent.
Yeah, I looked that up too. She plays Sam in the
Steve,
Descent.
you ever see that movie?
I
The
have.
Descent's fucking
Ah,
creepy.
Yeah,
Dude.
good movie, man. And it's
Is
a
it
UK
good?
movie. There's two endings. There's a UK ending and the United
It's a
States ending.
cave. It's a spelunking one, right?
Yeah, they go
It is
spelunking.
plus spelunking.
There's fucking creature
Dude, that-
fucks in
yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
so. It's one of the few like that like really like I was like,
It gets you.
"Fuck,
Some
dude.
people can't
I'm
watch
about to
it.
go. I'm gonna sleep in the living room with my dog tonight." Kind of.
Is it like claustrophobic uncomfortable or just creature?
Yeah,
both.
both on that.
Yeah, the claustrophobic mind melded with like pure horror and fucking creatures ripping people in half and shit, not being able
They
to see
built
it.
like
and,
all these
oh,
intricate
man.
sets that they could move around and place together of tunnel systems to create these claustrophobic world without having people actually go down into the cave systems. And it looks pretty real to me when they're down there acting.
Yeah. The jump scares aren't cheap either. I feel like they're all
It's
like
a good creature movie, but
really
it plays more
fucking-
on the human stuff, I think, and the claustrophobia than anything.
Yeah, they do play like with the relationships, like start to break down when they realize they get fucking lost down there. That's scary, like not knowing how the fuck to get out. There's a couple of scenes that are, I think to me, scared me more than like the creature shit. Was like one scene like they're trying to get from one. There's like a huge gap, and it looks like impossible to cross. It's like that part was harrowing as shit. But anyway, yeah, that's a good. That's a really good scary UK based film, I think too.
You mentioned Gal. I did have some reservations about him at first.
Like
the film actually never goes there. I thought he was stooping fucking his boy's wife for a moment.
I thought that too at a certain point.
There's a couple moments where the film makes us think that.
Yeah.
It did seem very friendly.
Yeah, and then there was a couple moments too where I thought maybe this was going to be some kind of double cross, where he was leading his buddy into this, or he was paid to lead his buddy into this. When we start getting some of the cultish stuff, like the hand being cut and stuff like that, where it's like, well, why is it about Jay?
Yeah, why didn't you cut his fucking hand on the blood pact for the kill contract too, man?
And then we got, it's funny too, because then we got Dollar Store Joe Biden at that moment too.
Yeah. Dude,
that
was exactly
like
what I was
Joe Biden.
thinking.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, it's Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe
poor guy. He doesn't know where he is right now. He got lost.
Dude, that's crazy. Like now that you say that, I see that 100%. But I was thinking more. He reminded me of a smooth shaved. I think his name's Scott. I can't remember. It was Herschel from season 2, Walking Dead.
Yeah. R.I.P. I forgot his name.
Yeah,
I could
it's
see that.
Scott something. God damn it.
His hairdo looked like the creepy guy from Poltergeist 2.
Poltergeist, yeah.
His like thin man, old man hair. You know what I mean?
The
he's got volume, but it's like there's no real depth to it
like
because you can see through the hair.
There's a slight
hairline.
mullet coming down a little bit too.
There's definitely mullet going on.
I do love
the scene at the dinner table. Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, I was gonna say that exact same thing. Going back to the dinner party scene, they do such a good job of making it so uncomfortable. Like, especially if you're the Fiona gal, you just met these fucking people.
Yeah,
you're watching them fight, and then he does the tablecloth. Like,
dude,
not even close.
That takes it to another level.
Dude, I laughed my ass off when that scene happened.
Yeah. I just thought it was really well done, like to make you feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where, so we also get a good bit of like, at least build up of like, their dynamic at home is obviously fucked up, but Gal's pretty close. We can see that, right? He scoops up Sam when Sam comes downstairs and brings him upstairs.
He goes and takes him up to bed. He tucks him in.
You don't need to see this. Go upstairs. Your dad's been drinking.
Cracks a joke.
I don't want you to ever drink. Not even water, Sam says. And then Gal goes, no, especially not water. Don't you know the government puts shit in there to make your balls shrink? I was like, what the fuck are you telling this kid?
Dude, yeah, that's the other thing. I guess this guy, Michael Smiley, he's a comedian by trade. Like, that's how he came up.
It's very dry.
And then he's gotten up into movies and stuff and kind of abandoned that. But you can see that in his character. Like, he's got like a one-liner. He's saying something to kind of keep things motoring along. But, yeah, so after this dinner party, which is, I think they did a really good job establishing like the issue, like before the dinner party and right after, like the problems these two are having. It's money. They're both hotheads. She even says too, like at the dinner party, she's like, oh, you were in the military as well. She's like, yeah, I was in the Swedish National Service. So they both have that kind of background. And it seems like too, like I couldn't remember the first time I watched, but it seems pretty clear that Shell, the wife, knows Jay and Gal are like mercenaries or contract people. Because she says a couple lines like, is it done? Or she says something's kind of subtle, but also like,
no, was it clean? She knows everything.
Yeah.
But also like, because she says like, oh, you haven't worked in 8 months. And then we find out that 8 months ago was the Kiev job. We don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
But it's
we hear about Kiev like 3 or 4 times.
And it seems like it was very hard on Jay. Because he says to his buddy, like, I don't know if I can do this again, basically, and not so many words. Like Kiev, was like a lot on me, and we could tell that like I think he's been in a slump, like he's been depressed or something. Something happened in Kiev. I don't know if maybe he killed a kid by accident or something like that, or what.
I like how they left that open ended because you could think, oh yeah, maybe he killed an innocent. Maybe even a kid during a botch job, or maybe someone else on his team. Like he froze up and got someone killed. Like
when he gets full blown, like aggravated, like upset later on with the stuff with kids, which is upsetting to begin with. And then he's a dad too, but maybe it plays into the Kiev thing too. Who knows? Because everybody mentions it, but Joe Biden mentions it.
Yeah.
It's like something they hold up against it almost. Like it's something that as soon as you mention it, you're pulling his card. Like it's going to elicit something out of him.
That would make sense why he swings so hard to like overcompensate. And he's really like, he becomes more than a contract killer. He becomes fully invested into like, I mean, Gal even says it's not a fucking crusade. He takes it upon himself like it's a moral or like it's a righteous, like he's out for fucking blood.
Yeah.
Those scenes are gnarly when he does that.
Yeah. I guess to get into that too, so like and this is the music. I'm gonna try to play it and talk a little bit, but like when they first go to meet Joe Biden in that hotel, it's got this weird whistle.
There's the whistling that I was talking about.
It's very like haunting and like it puts you in a certain mood, like. And then, the Joe Biden guy's creepy. He fucking slices his hand. They do like a blood pact for this 3 kill list, the contract that they're on.
Yeah, so much deeper than he needed to cut his hand for just a little bit of
blood. Dude. So he cuts that dude's hand super deep and then cuts his own like a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, why would you cut the hand of a guy who you just hired to do a job? Like now you just handicapped him.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fucking nursing this fucking cut that cut was deep as fuck. He didn't even get stitches.
Yeah. It's like you just severed all my tendons. Now I can't pull the trigger. Thanks.
Yeah, pull the trigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what were you thinking? But then again, I'm not a Satanist, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure, you're not.
Yeah. I do co-host a horror movie podcast, so, and I play D&D, so.
Hey, you're halfway there, brother.
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
Jim, I don't know about you, but these days I'm subtitles 99% of the time.
Yeah.
You one of those?
Because my hearing is so shit. I feel like I miss so much. I think the only time I'll turn it off is when it's really easy to understand, and I fucking hate when they put the dialogue up before the audio. Because then you're pre-reading it, and it like the timing just fucks it all up. So in that case, I'll turn it off. But yeah, in this case, oh god, I would have been lost immediately.
I feel like lately it's like anything at home, I gotta be subtitled, and then it's like when you go to the theater, it's like, okay, this is cool.
So the last thing I saw in theaters was Oppenheimer, and I was having a hard time hearing the shit. Yeah, and I read something later that was like it was intentional because he doesn't like to go back and do re-records. Because there were so many times.
Sure, that takes a lot of time.
I don't know what the fuck they're saying right now. I really wish I had subtitles, but whatever.
That's like another film too. There's several people speaking at once in some of those scenes, and several of them have different accents too. So then you work in the accents as well, and it's hard to miss, certain the end of a sentence because it sounds a little differently than when you're used to hearing. So
there was a ton of that. I feel like in that dinner scene in Oppenheimer when they're going over the plans. And they keep moving the fucking vase in the middle because they're trying to see one another. And they finally says, "Fuck, move this fucking plant." But But yeah, with that, the camera angles and them like talking over like 3-4 people and they're all talking and yelling, and that part was intense. Like,
but you're right though. It is like a cost benefit analysis you have to do where it's like, is knowing every single word worth sort of taking yourself out? I mean, because that might be why I didn't even really notice any of the music, because I'm too busy reading the goddamn movie.
So I think where we should go to would go 1, 2, 3. For this is a 3-person kill list, and there's like a title card that pops up, and it's like 1, or it just says the priest. And so we go to this is their first contract.
I like that.
They've gone to the hotel. Yeah, I liked it too. How
It
they
was
like
very
split it up.
Tarantino.
Yeah. So they go to this church, and at this point too, you can see some glimmers of like Gal is having issues with, it seems like maybe he was religious, used to be highly religious, or just was brought up in it.
Yeah, he's Irish.
And he's in another room listening to like the end of the sermon and shit, and he's like, looks like he's having a crisis of confidence. But then they shoot to like everyone's kind of filtered out, and they dress up the kill room in the plastic sheeting, and then Jake ducks out, sees the priest, and then another thing's weird because the priest turns and like almost like in a knowing way, like he knew this was going to happen, or like this is some sort, so maybe a sacrifice,
That's what I think it is.
And he turns to him and he's like, turn around. Jay does, and then he's like, yes, and he's like, thank you. He fucking blows his head off. So the thank you sticks with you. It's like, what the fuck's going on right now?
And at the moment when he notices that like his whole office has been turned into like a Dexter fucking episode, with like plastic everywhere, he walks into it. I'm like, why would you knowingly walk into that's a fucking kill scene right there? Like, so I'm wondering if like I didn't think about sacrifices, but that's a good way to think about it now. Is that these were all knowing sacrifices because they're affiliated with the people that hired him to do the job.
Yeah, like this was a part of like this cult angle, like
now what
weirdness.
is the symbolism of Jay?
Symbology?
Why is he so important though? You know what I mean? Because it seems like he's the main focus. I thought for a while there that Gal was in on a lot of things or doing something wrong. It turns out he wasn't doing any of the stuff I thought he was doing. He was just manipulated by Fiona to get closer to Jay, to get the job in his hands and get Jay to do the deeds, make these killings.
Right.
Because Jay does like all the killings himself, basically.
Yeah, that is one point. Gal doesn't really participate too much.
Well, because Jay goes off the rails like right away.
Yeah,
that's true.
Jay is some sort of cult messiah, I guess.
Right? Yeah. If we look at the way the end plays out.
Yeah, it's like they must have maybe they just scouted him and then...
Or just a new member?
Well, I was thinking maybe they scouted him through Gal and his affiliation with Fiona, because we don't know how long they've been together. But the Kiev thing, maybe something about Kiev and whatever happened there, because they had a file on that, like, and they were watching him. Maybe that it was something about that they thought.
Yeah, did they anoint him, or was he like the promised one or something?
Yeah, we never get any like scripture where they're like, oh yeah, they the scrolls have spoken of him.
Yeah, like when she went into the bathroom and scrawled the whatever, was that her putting it on him, or was it just like a marking, hey, I found him, this is where he is, or whatever?
She was just writing like Fiona was here.
Yeah, something.
She was looking for drugs, and she's like, fuck it, while I'm here, I may as well vandalize.
For a minute there, I thought she was going through someone's fucking medicine cabinet.
That's what
I thought,
you don't
fucking do that in somebody else's house. I'm sorry.
Especially if
you deserve to get got.
As a first-timer.
Yeah.
There was that funny scene at the dinner table where he was explaining, because he used to fight in the IRA or something, and she's like, I don't get it. You guys are all the same religion. And he's like, not exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, no, there's quite a bit of fighting because they are in fact not the same.
Yeah.
And that would clue in where, kind of Gal's background comes from and his religious background, as well as like the fact that she ends up being one of the cult members is obviously either why she doesn't understand the difference, or she does. She's just obviously trying to play him.
Yeah, she's just playing dumb. So after we get the priest kill, that's when like you get the check-in with Jay checks in with Shell, and she's like, was it clean and all that? Has the eagle landed? And then she's like, yeah, that Fiona gal stopped by the house. Oh, by the way,
brought a gift.
Creepily, and brought a gift for Sam, the son, or something, or just like I don't know. And Jay's like, that's weird, and she said, oh, she's just waiting. And it's like, okay, like that's not ominous and fucking.
I don't know. Like Jay kind of takes it like, oh, at least my wife's got somebody to hang out with while I'm gone.
Yeah, like she's got a pal now or something.
It's weird though, and it's even weird to Gal, because when he mentions it, Gal's sort of like, I don't know where she is right now. Like we're not really a big thing. Like last I saw her, she left a note taped to my dick. Like
yeah,
which should be red flag number 1.
What did the note say? I'd love to know what it said.
He say she left a Dear John letter gaff to my cock.
I did think it was funny when they were talking about killing the priest where they're like, well, should we just take him in his house? They're like, no, let's watch him and follow him around and get his routine. And then he goes to like just from his house to the church, and they're like, all right, yeah, let's kill him here.
We got it. Yeah.
I do like that scene where they set up and like break in and.
Yeah, that goes back to like Jay being in his element. You can tell like he wants to like, maybe not drag it out, but he likes the preparation like to the takedown, like everything, like the ritual of it all, because with Jay,
the action is the juice.
Nice. Yeah, that's true, man. He's that kind of guy.
I'm not going to let go of that bump ever.
I have one issue with Jay. The dude needs a tailor. Did you see the fucking suit that he put on to go to the first? Dude, that looked like a little kid wearing a suit for the first time.
Yeah, like a little kid going to like his first like.
His cuffs from his dress shirt were like super exposed, like a lot. You're supposed to have a little bit out. There was like a huge spot of cuff just hanging out. Like the jacket didn't fit right, and then the pants were like going under his shoes when he's on the phone with his wife about his declined credit card. And I'm just looking at him like, I'm guessing they made him kind of look frumpy on purpose to make it look like he's kind of a schlep, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
you're not
it's
in regs, Jay.
Film, and this is the suit they could get him, and they're like, make it work.
I didn't notice that at all.
And I noticed it, and because he's walking next to
suit.
Gal, who does look like he's in a well-tailored suit, and it just looked like.
Jay's card gets declined when th're trying to get the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. He just
and he takes it out on his wife.
Yeah, he just can't get it done no matter what.
It's like my mate had to pay for me. How embarrassing that is.
Embarrassing that is. Yeah.
Drawings. Oh yeah, and I like to after when Jay hears that Fiona's come by his house, he makes a comment to Gal. He's like creeped out. He's like, I don't want to return home to some bleary-eyed phantom.
Yeah. He does have some crazy eyes, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, she does. But I like that emphasizes, and throughout the film, him and Gal like trading barbs, but just like you can tell they're proper mates because they're just like thick as thieves, even at the end when they get in that fight and then they're just having a beer, just like super chill. But like, and then Gal's like, hey, watch it. That's my woman you're talking about there. And then he's like, she's a demon in bed too. And then he's all, come on, details, And he's all, put it this way, I had to shave my pubes afterwards. And I was like, what did you take from that? Like she was on the rag and fucking.
She just gets really wet and he had to shave her pubes. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of that.
I thought it was like a Red Wings situation.
I mean,
just
I
take
guess,
a shower.
But yeah. Like, I don't think there's not a reason to shave your pubes for any of those things unless you had crabs. Honestly,
that's a good call.
So maybe he was just taking the piss out of Jay a little bit there.
I ain't gonna kill you, son. I'm policeman.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh, when they fight, they're like trained military. They're badass. They do a set like wet work, right? But when they fight like young cousins on the floor, like just rolling around, fucking like kneeing each other in the groin, but nothing real serious. Like
that one point's like not in the face.
Yeah, not the face. Yeah. I caught that too. And then they fight in the yard early when they're drunk.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's a little bit.
Jeans.
Yeah, that's a little bit more playful, and then it like amps up a little bit in the kitchen. I queued that one up too because it made me laugh.
You shouldn't fucking treat your wife like a doormat.
Right, thanks.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's a lovely woman.
All your relationships have been so very successful, Gav, so thanks very much for your advice, you cunt.
And then he fucking punches him, and then he grabs that coffee mug and fucking just breaks it on his back, and then they're on the ground. And then right after that, and he's like, I've been thinking about, I can't keep Fiona out of my mind. I think I might be in love. Like they just go right back to that. They're like having a beer and fucking banging a dart like in the living room. Like I like that about them. Like they're simpatico. And as you go along too, when Jay loses his head here, when we cover the librarian, Gal's the one that's always trying to maintain the peace, and like he's the calm, thinking about it critically, and Jay's the foil to that. He's fucking like losing his head. He's impulsive as shit, and he's like we said, he's probably overcompensating for that Kiev thing, or like his wife makes him know too, like he's not supporting the family. Like she makes a comment.
They have a
like,
weird.
It's almost like I'm a
relationship.
single mother. Then he takes umbrage too, but. They do. They have a super fucked up relationship.
Toxic as fuck.
But knowing all that, I did feel like this time watching it that they genuinely cared about each other, like because they have their blowouts and then they have their makeups.
They do have there are tender moments, like when she lies in bed with him, when they're playing with the kid with the swords. In the morning, like even though she gave him shit about buying the swords because she's like, "What he did?" But that's the one thing we see, that he's got a good relationship with his son. Him and his son have these back and forth moments where they're playful with each other, and there's some good dad and son moments.
Yeah, it's not overt that the son hates him.
Yeah, no, the son admires him.
Yeah,
and he speaks real to his.
He's probably just. Maybe neglected a little bit, like
a little bit by dad, like not by mom, but he should have some more like dad time, probably.
Right.
But dad does seem like he speaks to him in a real way. He calls him mate, and like, you know what I mean. He doesn't really. He kind of talks to him like he's like one of his buddies, and not necessarily just his son.
He's not like a fucking stand-in, like like sitcom dad. Like he actually has like some substance there.
Yeah. So the librarian, do you want to?
Yeah, we should probably get to that. So yeah, this is kind of where it changes tone. They go to the librarian. It's just some nice house, and they're in like the suburbs of England. Some probably I don't know where the fuck. I don't know if this is like Wales, Welsh, but yeah, I'll just say British suburbs, and they braise this guy. Or no. That's not what happens. First, they're scouting. Storage. They go to that warehouse.
Yeah.
That like fucked up storage facility.
And they were going to tail him from there, but Jay gets a wild hair up his ass. He's like, no, we need to go in there and see what he's got. Because it was just very suspect.
Yeah. And there we find it. It reminded me of that part in True Detective. Have you seen True Detective season 1, Steve?
I have. Yeah.
Like when they go, and I think it's towards the end where Marty.
Spoilers for True Detective.
Spoilers for True Detective season 1. If you haven't seen that, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? Watch it. But yeah, big spoiler. When Rust shows Marty in the storage container that fucked up video, and he's all, no, like fuck. We have one of those with Jay sees something like either snuff. You can hear it sounds
I couldn't tell if it was snuff or maybe child porn or both. I don't know.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
That's the impression I got.
From the screams, and they sound like
looks
younger
at it for
children.
a moment and he's had enough, but like Jay subjects himself to it.
Yeah. You can see it grabs him right away because, again, it goes, he has a kid. They've set that up. Yeah. Gal doesn't. He's like ultimate bachelor. But then, you also think about, Kiev's been brought up, like, oh, what happened there? Maybe you thought like, oh yeah, it's involved. So he's got a different kind of emotional attachment on this.
Right? Maybe he did something so heinous in Kiev, that like the job brought something out of him. That's why the Satanists, like, he's on their radar.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they know about Kiev, and that's why they subject him to this, series.
Yeah, maybe he's got stronger like offering potential
Yeah.
because of like the emotional.
Unfortunately, they don't
thing
show us
going on.
anything about Kiev, so we don't even get a flashback. We don't get nothing. We don't even see the file, like what's in it.
I kind of like that they don't overexpose.
It's a good
Just there were a couple
point.
breadcrumbs.
It's a good point because I was thinking, oh, he must have fucked up and he feels really bad about it, like something he failed to do.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, you could be right. It could be the exact opposite where he's like, I lost control and did something that's
Maybe
like
that's why he's reluctant to work in the last 8 months and why he's depressed and hanging
because
out.
he doesn't
drinking
want
beers and
to.
smoking
He doesn't
cigarettes all the
want
time.
to let the dogs out again.
Exactly.
So when he's watching the video, is it like he's loading up his, like the water boy? He's like, this is just my tackling fuel. And he's just like using it to hype himself up. Like, all right, I'm going to fucking go out. And
I think so, based on what he does at the next location that he goes to.
yeah.
Water sucks.
There's some great brutality in this one.
Oh, yeah.
It could be part of the reason why I like it so much. And I like that they didn't pan away. I hate it when they do that. They just leave it right there.
Very realistic. That's why brutality, I think, is a better word than, say, gore. Like, gore makes it sound like it's a movie effect, but the brutality in this looks realistic.
Yeah. Like, it reminded me of, like, the scene in Goodfellas where he pistol whips the guy in the face. It's like, oh, shit. They don't pan away. They just stick right there.
Or when they're squeezing the vice on that dude, and it looks like his eyeballs are like.
That's Casino, Jim.
Is that Casino? Damn it! I always get those two confused.
What a fucking poser!
Go back to school.
Go get your fucking shine box.
Yeah, exactly.
After they find the kiddie porn shit or whatever the fuck's going on in that storage unit, because it's creepy down there.
Oh yeah.
There's it's funny too. There's moments I just know. I'm thinking about it now. There's moments of like weird like tunnel or like cave areas like in this film that maybe are alluding towards what happens in the very end. Like when they go into the storage area, it's very dark and dank, and like the same thing early on when they creep into like where the priest is. They're like underground, in the darkness, like trooping around trying to find their way into his office.
That is, yeah. If you think about it, like in a first, second, third act, or like first, second, third kill that opens up, like they do have those kind of like those visual cues, and it's like each chapter there's like some similarity, or
like you said though, that video gives like fuels the fire. And when they go to see the librarian and they finally I love that the next scene is just them like showing up, not even like planning it out. They just show up and punch him in the face, throw him in his house, and beat the shit out of him. Like, that's funny.
And this is where, I mean, they do. We should break it down because I think I may have forgotten one. So, like the methods of torture Jay employs, he gets a hammer. I think he busts his knee.
No, before the hammer,
he punches him a couple times. But doesn't he take a cigarette? Were you thinking, because they didn't show it? I was like,
he's burning his wrist.
Okay, I was like, was he putting that cigarette in his fucking ear? Like I thought
that too, or the neck, the first time. But then he goes down low behind him, and I was thinking maybe the wrists, because that's a very sensitive area.
I'm gonna continue to think he put it in his ear, because that makes it even like the torture even more crazy. But I could have sworn, I was like, dude, can you imagine? That's so fucking gnarly. And then obviously like one of the big like money shots is like his hand on the edge of the table,
that shit is
mashing
gnarly.
It with the fucking.
Well, I think one of the coolest moments of this movie is when Gal leaves the room, and then that's when he like sort of switches gears.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't even remember what he said, but that's when any of the sort of weird stuff that was alluded to prior sort of just like gets even more weird, because he's like,
he asked if Gal, he says, does he know who you are?
Yeah. Okay.
Really
Yeah.
Or something like that. And I'm as an audience member, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah. That's where, like, for me, it switched a little bit. Like, oh shit, there's definitely more going on here.
Yeah. Like there's a lot more intrigue, because at first he's like freaking out. He's like, oh no, oh fuck. And then once he starts getting beat on pretty good, then the librarian starts kind of like going into a different mode, you know, like the acceptance and like almost like thumbing his nose at Jay because he has no idea like of this greater plan.
Well, like Steve said too, I think it's also because Gal left the room, and they're just one-on-one, and that's when
like the floodgates were open.
Yeah, the librarian changes tone right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like he knows he's got him one-on-one.
Because Jay goes even more violent after that. That's when he grabs the hammer
and takes a couple chunks out of his fucking head, and
he's slamming it on his knee. I have a bad knee. That shit hurt to watch.
Yeah.
And then he went knees, hands, and then to the head.
Dude, the head one.
The practical effects they used in this were pretty good. They were very subtle, but it didn't take me out at any point. I was like, oh, dude, that dude's actually getting beat on.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of disarming. Where if you have like a vigilante urge, and the person's like, so happy to have you here, like, let's go. It's like, well, fuck, right? That's really got to disarm you.
Yeah.
Or just really light a
He
fire.
breaks his hand in half and splits it, and he thanks him after.
Yeah, dude. That part's
he cries out in pain, the initial pain, but then right after that, he gets his composure, and he's like, thank you.
Yeah, and you can hear Gal going through the safe, who's just hearing all the screaming, like, what the fuck is going on down there?
And it was supposed to be like a clean kill, right? Wrap him up in plastic, maybe? Not bash his head in with a fucking hammer.
And then right before he bashes his head with the hammer, he finally beats out of him. He's like, give me a name, give me something, because now Jay wants to follow this fucked up kid murder, rape shit ring that he's found. And so he gives him an address. So they're supposed to now go on to the third and final kill on their list, which is an MP. So Jay's like, fuck that, we're going like right away. So as soon as they kill the librarian, they go check, and Gal's like, all right, ride or die. And fucking they go to this really weird, fucked up, decrepit warehouse, like a freight station or something, but
site, or at least that's the guy of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And then so what's Jay's like, I'll be back in 20 minutes or something. Then he goes, and it shows Gal just kind of like thinking, and then
and drinking a juice box. There's a moment where he puts a straw in the juice box, and I'm like, oh my god, like, way to undercut the scene in a sense, but it's funny because he's like this hitman, military guy, and then he's like, I need some apple juice.
He's like, yeah, I better go get the shotgun out of the trunk now, go help my friend out, see what he's done. And then he does that, and Jay's killed, I don't know, at least three people.
He killed the dog people. And the guy in the main office.
Yeah. That was pretty brutal too, when he takes out the last guy in that office.
Oof.
And this is where, so Gal's like fully convinced now, like, all right, you need to take some fucking time off. You're off your tits, so they go back to the hotel, and then there's a weird part where Jay hallucinates or really does see Fiona in like a white fucking nightgown just outside the fucking hotel window waving, and he waves back just like an idiot. Like, I couldn't tell if this is, I've seen some people say back and forth like, oh, that he was dreaming this, like a waking dream, or he hallucinated, or it really did happen, like she happened to be out there, which
I don't think she was out there. I think a waking dream sounds realistic. Like, he was actually still up in the hotel, and he's just so out of it that, like, yeah, I don't really think she was out there in the tall grass just waving in a nightgown.
Well, then he goes back and then to his house after they finish up the librarian and friends, and then this Fiona gal's at his house, like kind of being buddy with Shell, but she's got her reservations, you can tell. And then that's where we get like, so like you see the cut on Jay's hand, and he takes his shirt off, and it's like it's getting way worse, and it's like infected, and it's spread up to his chest. And then
kind of looks like when you get like a blood infection, but they didn't quite do the veininess of what it looks like. But
yeah,
that's what I was getting from.
It looks real bad.
Yeah, it looked pretty gnarly. So Shell's like, all right, you got to go to the doctor. And this part's fucking weird as fuck too. Yeah. This really like starts pushing the, like there's some like some things surrounding you now. It feels like that, like the walls are closing in, like more people are in on it. There's like some paranoia angle. But
I was getting like Rosemary's Baby vibes. Like he goes to see a doctor,
that's a good
and
call.
then that doctor's not his normal doctor.
Yeah, he's like, "Where's Dr. Babkin?"
Yeah.
And then he goes on this weird fucking spiel. Here, I'm gonna play it real quick.
Well, as for Dr. Babkin, the past is gone. The future is not yet here. It is only ever this moment.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Doc? This is fucking strange. Like, it kind of hits like a Twilight Zone feel right here. I was like, yeah, it's my hand. Don't you want to look at my hand?
Yeah.
It is a weird scene, though, because he doesn't look at his hand. And Jay was even reluctant just even to go to the doctor. He was going to put some cream on it.
Yeah, and he's like, "Where's Dr. Babkin?" And he's like, "He's on leave." You know, like, so they've got like sleeper agents, like wherever, you know, kind of following you. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, oh shit, dude. Like, yeah, he's
all right. So this seems like a good moment to bring up a theory I have. Do you think that Show is in on it? Do you think his wife's in on it?
At this point, I would say no, and I get a little bit crossed up at the end because when she's laughing,
She's laughing,
dying. But I don't know. But I didn't think that up to this point. I felt like they were.
No, I don't think she was in on it.
She's also the one that told him to go see the doctor, and then this is the doctor he ends up seeing. So it's sort of weird that like this doctor's just there already.
I mean, he did look pretty fucked up, and she seemed pretty concerned. Like, yeah,
I know.
Because he was like, "No, I'm fine. I'll be." And she's like,
that
no.
end scene throws me off, though.
What if the kid,
it does.
Once again, what if the fucking kid was the one behind it all?
I think the kid was the final sacrifice that he had to make, but because he gets rid of his wife and his kid, maybe. Or maybe. I don't know that the wife definitely dies.
She looks pretty dead to me.
Well, I mean, it's like, so she's hurt from getting slashed because he's only slashed at her as the hunchback. But the way he's stabbing like the back, which is where the kid is. So it's like the kid's the definite kill. And then I don't know how bad she was.
Well,
I don't know. Just the way that she smiles.
The virtue in this cult is dying. So the kid might enjoy being killed.
True. So you just hate kids, is what you're saying?
I do. Definitely.
So it's a short story.
I do want to mention, how did you take the scene where the cat is killed?
Didn't care for it.
It was pretty like graphic too, the way they show it, like bind it up like that and hanging, like it was like, ugh. And it has like a bag around its head.
Didn't care for that. Didn't care for the dead dog.
No. The dead dog got me too, because I was just sort of like, I know it's fake, but it looks so real.
So at this point, they go back to Grandpa Joe, and they want out of the contract.
They're like, yeah, we'll get you people just like us. We're done.
Yeah, and he's like, no, you're going to do it, and we're going to kill you if you don't. Because this is where we get to the really interesting part.
There's more people in the room at that moment too.
At first, it was just him, Joe Byron, and one other dude, and now there's like 9 people. Joe Byron. I like Gal's quip too. After he's like, they push some fat stacks of money towards him, and then they're like, no, and then we'll kill your whole family if you don't. And then Gal's like, oh, so there's no wiggle room on that, is there? Like, he's like, all right, we're fucked. So yeah, they go. This third one is titled the MP. And I couldn't. What is this like? Just a military policeman?
No,
that's
what is this in Britain? Like a House of Parliament person?
It's a member of Parliament. Because I thought
member of Parliament.
I thought it was military police too. And then when they showed the mansion, I was like, that doesn't really jive. So
no,
okay,
yeah,
he's like kind of dignitary.
I kept in my dumb head. I was like, Prime Minister. No, it's MP. I was like something minister of.
No, that's not a bad thought though, because people are always flipping stuff around, like, "Oh, I'm not an armed soldier. I'm a soldier at arms," or or Minister Prime or Prime Minister.
Littering and. One of the lines too.
We can't pull over anymore.
Smoking the reefer. One of the lines Jay throws at gal that I thought this is a fun UK colloquialism.
Your arsehole's gone, mate. Listen, man.
I noticed that too. I was like, "What the fuck is that? Your asshole's gone?"
What did he say?
I think he's like, "You've lost your nerve," or like you're a fucking
asshole's
pussy.
gone, mate.
Like
I guess like because your asshole tightens up, right, when you have to get it done. You know what I mean? Right. The hard shit hits, and what happens? Your asshole tightens up, and you spring into action, and you get it done, right? But if you don't, if your asshole's gone, right, you can't do that. You can't be a man. That's what I took from it.
Your asshole's gone.
It's their version of like backbone.
Or he just means you don't give a shit because your asshole's
just call
gone.
them a jellyfish. Yeah, I thought that was fun. But okay, so then they go. It's like I like how they don't set up this one at all. It's just like they're walking through the woods, and this is where like they're ex-military, so it's like it's another like ritual. They're getting back to like their roots and like their environment, kind of like gal kills a rabbit like nobody's business, and he's like singing a song and skins it up. They eat they make camp. They're like staking out the area.
I like that scene. Like you said, they're just kind of raw in nature.
Yeah, and you can see the camaraderie, and they just roll right back into their old roles.
They're there for one night. They could have just brought food. They didn't need that.
Yeah.
Right. Couldn't have just grabbed a fucking sandwich.
Here, I got some Cliff Bars. You want one? No, I'm just gonna go kill a rabbit and skin it.
Yeah, Jesus. I would have brought a cooter board or something. So they're camping out, and then this is where shit gets real weird and tense. Like when you see Jay hears something, and then you see like the first flicker of the fucking flame of the torch, and then you see more of them. And he's like, "Hey, fucking wake up!"
Jay hears that like chanting, and so the whistling comes back too. We hear the whistling again.
Yeah, it definitely they kick a different, like a needle drop comes, and it's like this real haunting, this weird shit again, And then you see more and more of these fucking torches come up, and there's a bunch of people with these fucked up like Wicker Man masks and shit. And then it's like
people. That's when you know there's cult stuff, when there's naked people.
And there's like 30, 40 of them. So then you start getting that like, oh fuck, dude, we're outnumbered. And then they have this gal, like younger gal, and at like ostensibly an offering, like she looks willing, and like they string her up and they fucking hang her, and that shit was brutal as hell.
She hangs herself.
Yeah.
Like total like
Taylor Swift.
Did she? The UK version?
UK version, yeah. The Wish version of Taylor Swift.
Dude, I can't remember what it was. It was a roast of something, and someone
I already know. They were talking about Jewel, and they said Trailer Swift.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's an awesome joke.
I think it was Nikki Glazer.
Yes, dude, Nikki Glazer's fucking savage.
Trailer Swift.
Dude, she's great
Swift.
on a couple of those. Yeah, dude, that one. I loved it so much. She fucking hammered on Jewel pretty good. She got her with the tooth. Like something about like
yeah, they're all a different color, and they're all going a different way, and
yeah.
I don't know. I still find Jewel kind of hot though.
Jewel is super hot.
Yeah, she's a handsome woman for sure.
Super hot. No, don't do that.
Whenever you say that, it implies that she's not very attractive.
No, I mean it like in a way. I've explained this before. She's like she's got like a classy dame, like a timeless look to her.
Yeah, she's not a class. Yeah.
No, what you mean is, or what I mean when I say somebody's a handsome woman, is that they have very masculine features, but they're still a pretty woman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like Gina Davis.
A couple beers down the line.
Like a CrossFit gal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jewel, she's pretty.
I don't know. When I hear handsome, I think facial features, not necessarily like your legs are built or anything like that. Like,
all right. Well, I first got it describing Gina Davis.
Yeah. Did. She's a good-looking woman.
She is a handsome woman in a league of their own.
There you go.
So yeah, this chick voluntarily kills herself, and everybody celebrates.
That was weird as fuck.
It was kind of weird. Their whole ritual is sort of weird, because this is where the convolutedness of the plot sort of kicks in with me. Like, there's no They don't define what's going on enough. You don't have to give me everything, but give me something.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough here. It's like, oh, this is like a weird cult. Okay, like what is your beliefs? Like what is your system? Okay, we got Jay to get involved. Is Jay the Messiah? I don't know. Is he just an agent? Are we trying to just induct him into our cult? We don't know. Is the wife involved? I don't know. Like,
so this is where it starts to lose me too.
Yeah.
Really?
Because their job is to just kill this guy, right? Lay low, stay there, kill this guy, and you're free and clear. And then when they see this cult happening, Gal, for some reason, decides to just open fire on the entire
was it
group.
Gal? I think it's Jay.
It was Jay.
Oh,
I think it was Jay with his wife's
Gal
gun.
that started it.
Oh no.
I think it was Jay. He had that assault rifle that he had showed him.
He had like that G36C with the scope.
Not a garage. It's called a gaff, by the way.
Well, whoever it was, that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, and I think he hits the MP first. The guy who's like wants to get hit. He's like, yes, he's got his arms up. The first guy to get shot.
What makes you think
MP,
that's the?
So they do achieve the kill.
What makes you think that's the MP?
Well, when I paused the scene, it said MP in Amazon or IFC, like the description of like who was in the scene. It said MP, bride, and father of the bride, meaning the woman who killed herself was called the bride. And then there was another guy there who's like the father of the bride. There was like a descriptor of the characters that were in the scene.
Oh, then I missed that.
Yeah, he looked a lot like the picture that they had.
Yeah, that was convoluted.
And that is why they were there, so that would make sense if the MP is there.
I think that's overshadowed by the immediate chaos of everyone running, and like Jay, it's another example of him losing it. Like he sees all these cult people. This bitch just hanged herself and he's like freaked out. He's like, fuck this. And he just starts opening fire. Like kill all these dirty motherfuckers,
I do like that scene though, because it ramps up. And this is a slow burn of a movie. I'll be honest, there are moments that kind of were a little boring for me, but
it doesn't really kick into it until like the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes goes by without much at all happening. But it is establishing stuff that does play out that you kind of need, at least for establishing Gail's relationship with Jay and his relationship with his wife and his family. And
I think it pays off, especially with Gal's death that happens after Jay opens fire. Then they go back into this like their escape route, rendezvous point or whatever, through this fucking old ancient medieval fucking sewer complex, and Gal takes out like 8 people with a shotgun, and then he ends up getting fucking clipped. Super nasty.
Yeah.
When they come at the cultists too, did you like the audio? I thought was really cool. There's like mixes of almost like pig squeals mixed in.
Yeah, and like
they sound almost like monsters and not people.
Yeah. No, yeah. It was they were totally tapping into like some primal shit.
Yeah.
It sounded horrific in these like tunnels, and the visibility is low, and I thought this part was really well done. It was pretty tense. And then then Gal fucking eats it, I thought this was a cool moment.
Guts get ripped out.
Like Jay's like, no, we got to get out of here. He's like, no, I'm fucking done, mate. Like he's like, they fucked up my legs.
Says,
like,
sorry. I thought he was gonna go for fucking your wife or something like that. I thought that was when the reveal was gonna come.
I was thinking that when they got into their fight, where Jay fucking bashes that coffee mug over him. He's like, and you shouldn't be caring this much about my fucking wife, and like when he was kind of questioning him there, I was like, maybe they had something in the past.
There's moments there too when he consoles her during the fight and like kisses her on the forehead, like, bro, that's your buddy's wife.
Or like he's always been sweet on her, and like Jay is the one who got her, and like, or maybe I thought a mixture of like that, and maybe they had like a one-time fling that Jay never knew about.
Yeah,
that was just
while he was away or something
in check. Yeah,
but like that moment passes and he doesn't confess anything. So I was like, oh, okay, they kept Gal basically just like okay in the whole scheme of things. I was fine with that because I liked Gal's character. He's he's the level-headed. He's the voice of reason throughout. And the fact that Jay has to kill him, take him out, like just end his suffering. I thought that was pretty powerful. Yeah, totally.
because he'll think when he calms down later on, or if he were to, you would think about like, this happened because I fucking lost control of my emotions and went off the res 2 or 3 different times. And now if we would have just stuck to the list, not knowing everything else surrounding it, that could have fucked with him too. But yeah, there are some greater designs though.
It's all meant to like drive Jay to the edge.
Yeah. And I liked how they did this too, because it's kind of a double ending. And I totally forgot about this second ending, because after Gal dies and there's all that chaos out in the woods, then we do a hard cut to a different house, like a mother-in-law's house or maybe a backup place that Jay knew about.
Talking about the cottage that she goes to or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so he goes back to his house with Shell and his kid Sam. And then right away, they don't waste any time. Like, Jay knows something's up, and then he starts seeing torches and shit surrounding his house. I was like, fuck. What'd you guys think of this scene? Was it pretty tense? Do you think it paid off, or?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I think like the torches, especially once I saw the torches, I was like, oh, it's the same fucking motif as before. Like, this is their thing. They're here, and they have you surrounded. They have the,
and you're in like the setting you are.
There are people at first holding the torches, but then you see that they're just like markers that they left.
That reminded me of those people in The Void. I know, Steve, you haven't seen The Void, but the people, the creepy ass people in the white robes outside with the black triangle, and then there's just like 30 of them, and they're like circling you up. Oh, that's such a fucking creepy feeling.
So this is the scene that does make me think that the wife's not in on it, sort of, because she's got her pistol with a silencer on it, and she's shooting at these dudes.
Yeah, I think she kills one person too,
indiscriminately, and then you hear her screaming. And then I'm thinking that's the kid screaming because someone got to the kid. And then when she goes to check on the kid, they get to her because they never played. But why is she so eager to try and stab him? Is she drugged? You know what I mean? Like, they created this hunchback out of her and the kid.
Well,
and then she's just put out there and she's like trying to stab. And then Jay just goes along with it at that point too. So was there a drugging at some point? Maybe I missed.
I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility, but I will say, to me, it seemed like her and the son were pretty well draped up. Like, it didn't look like.
Yeah, but she's coming at him with a knife. Like, she would know that it was him. That's what makes me think she's in the very end. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
And she's sacrificing her own son and possibly her life.
Yeah.
Not that she was a plant the whole time, like, to get Jay to be this messiah or whatever, but that possibly they got to her at some point. Like, maybe Fiona got to her.
Or maybe she just really wants to kill her husband.
That too. No. I mean, it sounds funny, but you're right, Steve, because there is that divide between them. The entire movie
to the death.
Keeps showing us that they're arguing all the time. They don't get along. There's it's a kind of like a loveless marriage, but every once in a while we see a semblance of love. But who knows if that's not just her like gaslighting him to keep doing what he's doing because this is his role to play.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it for sure. And it doesn't help me decide for myself, especially when she's laughing at the end. Yeah, because that seems like a weird move to make.
And then they just end it.
Yeah.
Well, so she knows Gas is dead, so maybe they were having an affair. Yeah. Maybe they were having. Fuck, idiot, stupid idiot. So maybe they were having an affair the whole time, and so she's like, "Fuck it, I have nothing to live for. I'm just going to try to kill this guy too." And then when she dies, she just, I don't know.
It reminded me of. It reminded me of a Serbian film, in a sense. When we get the end, what happens?
I've never seen the Serbian film.
You never have? I don't recommend it.
I refuse to, based on...
But you know enough of it.
I don't know anything about it. I just know that it's a... I just know that it's a fucked up movie.
It is a fucked up movie.
And I don't want any part of it.
G-Baby, you have this weird thing where your mic is like in front of your face for me, and it looks like you're wearing like a Bane mask or something. It was like right over your nose, and the mic is coming out of your mouth.
I have to stay close to it or else it won't pick up my audio.
ASMR.
I was born of this.
So a Serbian film that's supposed to be like the most fucked up movie of all time, right?
It's one of the most fucked up
Yeah,
movies.
it's
I've
up there.
never
in, like,
seen it.
But it's also a try hard. Like, it's trying to be one of the most fucked up movies. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it still achieved that by just its subject matter.
Yeah, that's the whole aspect of it, where it feels like it might be trolling that hard to get
and
that
supposedly
kind
it speaks on things like economics in the area where I don't believe any of that. But if you listen to Straight Chillin', they break it down pretty good.
Right on. Yeah, that's one I've just from like 3 or 4 people that have said, the few things about it. I'm just like, nah.
Do they kill people or animals?
I don't
think
know.
there's any animal deaths.
Oh.
It has similar subject matter to this film, in a sense, but different.
Are going to die.
I think the problem I had with this film is this whole hunchback kill scene. This felt a little clunky, and I felt like, I don't know. It just felt clunky, I guess, to me. I wish they could have finished it stronger and more like.
I wish we got to see more, maybe, of like what happened in the house. Like I think they kind of speed through it a little bit. Like there should have been a little bit more finesse, like you're saying, and finesse us into this. Like,
yeah, give us a little bit more understanding of what is going on.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need everything explained, but there's not enough explained to me in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for exposition. I like when films like over-explain things sometimes. Like, I like to know like the hows and whys and like the background. Like,
yeah, some people don't want any of that, but
yeah,
I like
it's just a preference
a melange, if you will.
Yeah, as it were. Where do you fall on that spectrum, Steve? Do you wish they would have given us a little bit more exposition and explanation, or for the motives? I'm in the camp of I like that they left it ambiguous and that you're just kind of vicariously seeing it through Gal's eyes and inferring.
Yeah, I know I've railed against ambiguous storylines in the past, but I don't really have a problem with this one. I feel like they leave certain parts of it open for interpretation enough to where it's okay. Like the past, it's fine. I also had questions about when she was shooting people in the house. I thought, like, oh fuck, she's actually accidentally gonna shoot her husband who was coming back into the house.
I thought it happened. The first guy that came through the door.
Yeah.
And then when he went to fight the hunchback, there was a part of me that was like, this has got to be his wife and kid.
I knew it. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm okay with it. There wasn't anything that was too offensive to me story-wise, but I'm an easy sell.
I did see one piece of trivia that there was supposed to be, and I guess there's little hints of it that you can pick up through the final version, but the original version, they wanted to introduce a second faction of the cult that was trying to take one. There was like a power struggle there, and Jay and Gao and his family and everything were all kind of pawns in this whole thing by two different sides. But that never came to fruition. And that's straight from the director and his writing partner for this, that they planned on doing that, but they ultimately didn't.
I think the cult stuff is where I think this film achieves what it wants to do really well. And at the same time, there's some detriment there as well.
What's the fucking...
symbology?
Like... I didn't have time to get into it, but I'm going to put a link in the show notes. There's someone did an essay that I got into a little bit that seems really intriguing. So I'll put that in the show notes about like some more of the character motivations. And this person does a write-up that's highly touted called The Circle of Quality. I probably would have been what you said, Steve. I probably would have been more okay if they did like a weird, like just like a hard cut of them at the house and build up that tension a little bit more. And then like they get everyone, they get out of it, but then she ends up shooting, Jay.
Yeah.
And amidst
when
the
he
chaos
hugs her
and the
and
darkness.
says, "I love you." And there's a moment where they pause on that. I thought she was going to shoot him in the gut or in the chest.
Yeah, I
he
would
gives
have
her
been
the
cool.
gun. Take the
I would have
gun.
been cool with that.
And then she kills him, and then we find out that she's in on it, right? And then they're like, or whatever. She ascends. But the fact that it was all about him the whole time, it's I don't know, man. I got a little confused at the end because I'm just sort of like, her actions in the house, yeah, she's like sniping dudes. Well, not sniping them, but, killing people with her silencer, and then
her laughing totally throws you through a loop. So
right?
I don't know if they did that cheaply, like, yeah, fuck you guys, like, we'll just throw this in here. But
was
I
she
guess
laughing
people
at her husband one more time? Like, you fucked up again.
Like maybe it's like out of disdain, or maybe it's just like she's delirious. She was drugged and she's about to die, and like that's just a non sequitur.
I do think the impact of him killing his wife and definitely killing his child, that still sat with me. I was like, wow, that's pretty fucking.
Yeah, that aspect of it was fucked up. If they were gonna go that route and have him like, oh, it turns out this is the rug pull, you killed your wife and your son, I wish they would have handled that or done that in a better way, other than this weird fucking.
He doesn't seem that remorseful either.
Jousting match.
That point. He's sort of just like going along with, which makes me think there's a drug influence.
They crown him after that.
It does have a lot of different things going on in the plot, like the Jay and his wife scenario, him and Gal, the three of them together, what they do for a living. Then they're on this fucked up mission. Then there's a cult, and then, like, there's it gets very intertwined and kind of confounding at points. But I don't know. I my favorite part is probably Jay and Gal, but also like with Shell, like they're kind of trifecta, like of being familiar with one another and seeing Jay break down and become more intense and like, focused on this thing that ends up, blowing everything up. Cool. Well, I'm glad you liked this one, Steve.
Yep.
It sounds like you're a little bit on the fence, Hydra, but at least there was some stuff to chew on, and I thought it was a good dissection, good breakdown of it. This brings our approval rate for Steve up to an 86.3. We're sitting at now 44-7. So sweet. Yeah, is there anything we missed or that you guys want to talk about this one?
The Goonies. Awesome.
There's these really disgusting people, the Fratellis. You may have heard about them.
They're so greasy. So, my main gripe that I had was that I was going to mention had nothing to do with this podcast. It was about Chris and Mount Molehill. I listened to the first episode, and I messaged him that fucking song was stuck in my head for at least a day and a half. After listening to his episode about ponchos and the Raise the Flag theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Join the club.
Dude, I was at work doing the Raise the Flag song, but I was like injecting like my coworkers into it, like raise the flag. And then I would say something about my coworker, like, so Benjamin likes to take car rides to the beach or something stupid like that.
Raise the flag. If you're ready for a little more ponchos, raise the flag. The flag. You're ready for a little more ponchos, Mexican buffet.
Dude, he fucking harmonizes right there.
Fucking voice of an angel.
Ponchos, Mexican buffet. I should have the Prestique queued up. Damn it.
It's too good. And it's too long.
What a great tune.
I'll throw that on the end here. That'll be our outro. We'll be the prescription drug Prestique jingle.
It's a commercial for an antidepressant, which I think negates the need for an antidepressant if you just listen to this song.
Like, no, I'm good.
It's fucking catchy as shit. That's for sure.
Yeah? Have you been gigging on it?
Not too hard, but you sent it to me and I listened to it and I was like, oh, damn, I need to step away from this. And then...
just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait. I first heard it like 8 years ago, and it still permeates my consciousness. It's so good. Dude.
I was hoping against hope that you were gonna finally crack.
No,
and we could figure out what the Carpenter's song that you hate so much that's gotten stuck into your head.
Never.
I need to build up the lore of that a little bit more and try to get some help. Internet sleuthing so we can fucking narrow it down. I remember I tried one time. I gave up.
I remember.
There's a song that's Steve, a Carpenter song that's for some reason just Steve hates, and it like it's a earworm for him. And one time I tried going through a shit ton of Carpenter's tracks, and it's like, is it this one? Is it this one? And he could have just had a really solid poker face, and I went over one. You're like, nope, that's not it.
So he mentioned that he has one, but he didn't tell you what song it was.
What the song is.
I don't. The Carpenters like that.
The Carpenters have a pretty extensive fucking catalog. So,
all right, now we got to make an entire episode of Mount Molehill out of this subject. We'll put Chris on it, and he'll fucking.
I do not consent. I do not consent.
Raise the flag. Raise the flag.
It's attached to your rod, mother liquor.
All right. Well, I think that's it for Kill List. I enjoyed it. I think more than you guys, a little bit more, but
I'm glad I watched it.
I liked it. What do you mean?
I had never seen it. I didn't dislike it. I have some issues with it.
Yeah, I guess actually I probably fall in between you two, but
I think it's one of those films where I want it to be better because I like it a good bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted it to elevate a little bit higher to like, top, a high recommend. I would recommend this, but it's not something that's going to like instantly come out of me like, oh, you need to watch this movie.
I think it's a fun one to have in your back pocket if no one's seen it before. And it's like, they probably won't ever see it, unless you had suggested it. So I think it's kind of one of those fun kind of movies.
People have heard of it. I mean, there's certain people that I saw when you posted about it. People have like, oh, I know this film. So there's a
it's got like a little. I don't know if you call it cult, maybe.
I mean, it is a mix of genres, so it doesn't quite sit just as a horror film. If
you were to tell somebody it's got like Tarantino vibes with like Snatch, and also what was the other one I was going to say? Wicker Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite the trifecta.
I mean, that sums it up a little bit.
Yeah.
That might intrigue some people.
But I would just say that it's the low end of all those three things.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a combination of those things, but it's the low end of them all. So don't expect all those three things at top notch combined, because that would just
keep your expectations low of all three of those things.
Yeah, but overall, and put the subtitles on from the get go.
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Yeah,
you don't have to fucking freshen up on your Cockney rhyming slang.
Yeah, low rent Joe
just
Biden.
Open your mouth a little bit more when you speak, bro. Just pronunciate a little bit more.
Before we get out of here, I saw a really fun short of Harrison Ford that I wanted to play for you fellas. I got a real big kick out of it. Let me share my screen real quick.
It's not the David Blaine orange.
No.
Dude, that David Blaine episode, I've showed that to people where he kicks David Blaine out of his house.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Get the fuck out of my house. Oh, wait. Here.
I think you sent me this clip, and I almost wrote back, get the fuck out of my house.
Damn it. Here we go.
You have one of the coolest names of any leading man, Harrison Ford. You cannot beat that name. Yet, you were asked, or it was suggested early in your career, that you change your name. Who the fuck wanted you to change from Harrison Ford?
Jerry Dukovsky.
Oh, well,
physician, heal thyself.
For his own name.
Yeah.
Is that true? So he wanted you to change your name.
Yeah.
You said Harrison Ford, and he went, no, we can do better.
Yeah, he said that's too pretentious a name for a young man. He was about 4 years older than me. He always called me boy.
Oh,
boy.
So what did you come up with an alternate name?
Yeah. Jerry Tchaikovsky.
Nice.
I love that shit.
That is such a good clip.
You don't want to fuck with Harrison Ford, bro.
No.
He tells it like it is, I'll tell you that.
I love that. It's too pretentious of a name. He's 4 years older than me. Always called me boy. Boy.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so fucking funny. Dude, he's got a couple. There's one about broccoli in a grocery store that's super funny. And then the one with David Blaine is fucking hilarious. Because he looks like he starts shaking a little bit. He looks like fucking bewildered.
Yeah.
Like that ain't
like if
real.
he didn't believe in demons before that moment, he does now.
Sure as fuck does now, yes.
Yeah, or the edible just kicked in at that moment. That's how Harrison Ford's face is like, get the fuck out of my house.
Get off my plane.
Get off my plane. No ticket.
How can that be profitable for Frito-Lay?
Dude, I just saw the preview for, or not just saw it, but have you guys seen the preview for the upcoming Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio film?
No.
Something Blood of the Flower Moon or Flowers of the Blood Moon.
Oh.
It looks fucking real good.
It's a book. That's very
okay.
good.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's the writer?
Oh, fuck. I don't have it in front of me.
It's not like a...
Killers of the Flower Moon, I think is what it's called. Dude, it's a really good story.
Okay.
Yeah. People are saying this is like Scorsese's like return to fucking form. Like I saw the trailer before or something not too long ago, and it looks super rad. So, and you guys have any final thoughts about Kill List?
No.
Anything we didn't cover you guys want to talk about?
I'd say check it out.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a slow burn. I mean, if you've listened to this part of the podcast by now, you already know everything about the movie. But even still, I would say, give it a watch.
I think it's got an interesting vibe too. Like even if you knew what was going on, like the way it's constructed is unique in the way that like indie films are.
It's up there with a film like The Invitation, or like one of these indie films that has like cool vibes.
Yeah,
and tenseness and some like twists going on, and like you should go in blind.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. It very much makes me feel Invitation for sure.
I got those vibes when they're at the dinner table, just sort of like an awkward dinner interaction. Steve might. I wonder how Steve would take that movie.
Yeah, I've got Invitation on my list for sure.
Nice.
It's a good one. I liked it a lot. And I've only watched it once, and I've been wanting to come back to it a second time. I just haven't.
I've only watched it once, but I've heard it spoken about by podcasts a couple times. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's a rewatch almost in a sense, like breaking it down with listening to a group of people talk about it.
Yeah, that one is doing some very cool shit in the background. That one's, maybe Halloween time. It's coming up. Yeah. Spooky September, October.
Close.
Schedule me in. I want an episode in October.
Yeah, it's still I got a lot of room to play with it, but I have a couple like The Thing we're gonna do for sure because Miles wanted to come on for that, and that's when Steve's been getting a rash of shit about. He's never seen The Thing.
Never seen it.
Oh my god, bro! I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Can't wait. It's one of my favorite movies.
I know.
It won't just. It's one of those ones where you won't be disappointed, by the hype because it just delivers in spades. So,
well, our friend Josh, one of my best friends that I golf with pretty frequently, it seems to come up like every other time we see each other. It's like, you haven't.
There's a reason it's like one of the top 5 like horror movies, and most horror movie fans like database or their list or whatever, but.
All right, I'm just gonna keep expectations low. That's all.
Yeah, keep them low.
All right. Yeah,
you guys
another
covered
one.
Christine, right?
Yeah, we did Christine last year. That was a fun one.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was a Carpenter film.
Yeah. I like a lot of, like, for me, 80s and 90s, Carpenter can't miss.
Dude, Carpenter kicks ass.
Yeah. He's got a lot of bangers. There, I just saw the Regal is playing, is bringing back Christine September 10th and September 13th at Regal Theater.
Old Boy's playing right now. I wanted to go see it, but I just couldn't get anybody to go with me, and to free up time to go see it, I'd have to go see it after work.
Yeah, that's one of the perks I found living in like a much bigger city. They have like the different theaters, and there's some like indie ones too out here that are playing like weird shit, like re-release stuff. They're playing They Live the week before.
They are. Too. I was going to mention that. Yeah.
So I'm going to do that after.
And there's one more. I think in like a week or this weekend, or maybe it was last weekend. They were going to play Enter the Dragon.
Oh, nice.
Like 50th anniversary or something like that.
That'd be super rad to watch in a big screen for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the only other one I have kicking around for Halloween, I got to fill it out with like 8 movies. One is, have you ever seen Night of the Comet?
I started it and I never finished it, and I've heard it's awesome. Discussed before.
Yeah, it's cool.
I need to rewatch, like really sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited to rewatch that one. So yeah, we definitely have some open spots for sure. Before we call it a day, do you want to plug A Cut Above one more time?
Yeah, man. Cut Above Horror Review. You find us on all podcatchers. Yeah, we're on Instagram at A Cut Above one word .horror_review. Twitter at Cut Above Horror, and we're on Facebook at A Cut Above Horror Review.
Everywhere. So, yeah. Find them, seek them out. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it was a good discussion.
Yeah, fun film. Good times always.
Good times had by all.
By the way, just real quick, I really liked the Orca episode. I watched the movie after.
Yeah, that was a lot of
2 days
fun.
later. It was just on my. It was like a craw, it was stuck in my craw, and I was like, I gotta watch that movie because I've always heard of Orca, and I'm like, have I seen it? Have I not seen it? I don't know yet. I might have seen it when I was younger, when I rented movies from the video store, and you just forget some of those. Like,
yeah.
Is it better than Jaws?
No, it's not better than Jaws, but there's an argument to be had. I respect the argument.
Turn his mic off, dude.
Wait, fuck The Frighteners is really good. Hold on. Maybe I can buy some time, so. No, but I enjoyed the movie. Just the whale just destroying an entire town by taking out the gas line, and he knew that like it was going to knock over a lamp in a fucking rickety ass fucking shack over the water.
Yes.
Well, he may or may not have also
go right up the pipeline and take out all the natural gas that they had. I don't know.
Yes. Perfectly rational, perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
And then I love that every scene after the whale gets revenge, he sticks his head out of the water and shows all his teeth and like just smiles. Like,
that fucking.
I would love to see a track of like a laugh track put in there. Like someone goes in and does like the Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah. Or like a sitcom and have the people like laughing and clapping in the background, like fucking episode of Friends.
Murder.
Or as my daughter likes to call it, Ross.
But it's actually a tough film to watch. There's moments of like, I don't know, that little fetus pops out of the mom. And
dude, that part's horrific, man.
Yeah, bro. And then you see the look on the actor's face who's like responsible for it, and he feels it. He's like, holy shit. And then we don't realize that like his kid was killed by a drunk orca.
Who may exactly. Who may or may not have been the same.
Dude, that was so Saturday Night Live. If you've seen a scene where like Eddie Murphy was in a suit as the fucking orca
that's
driving
exactly...
a car, like Mr. Bill or something, you know what I mean? Like, and the steering wheel's going left and right. Like, obviously people don't drive that way, but that's how they drive in skits, you know?
Yeah.
My fucking fins are too tiny.
You could make that skit where Orca is the drunk driver who killed.
Dude, I've been thinking about like trying to commission someone for art of that.
Do
would
animation.
Be sick. That would be awesome.
Maybe get that straight chillin' discount.
Yeah, we'll see. He'll be like, add it to the pile, guy.
Yeah,
I think
you're
he's
not
like,
wrong about that.
There's like 9 shirt ideas before that that are in the queue.
Anyway, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Check out A Cut Above. Anywhere you get your podcasts, check them out. They're all over.
We just covered Perfume, which I don't know. Have you read that book, Steve?
No.
Jacqueline's reading it right now. It's based on a book from like 1985, but it was her pick. It's a movie called Perfume, Story of a Murderer.
Who's the author? Do you know?
It's interesting. I don't know.
Adolf Hitler.
Yeah,
wow,
Patrick
weird.
Sunskind. Sunskind. Patrick Sunskind. It's French. I think he's a German author. It's a German book, but it's based on like a French perfumist.
That was pretty
Not
close.
to be confused with Helmut Deitel. Fucking dude's name's Helmut. Jesus Christ. Poor bastard.
I feel like you have a lot to live up to if your name's Helmet.
Helmut Deitel. Shut up with that filthy pig Latin. Yeah, dude, my daughter, she likes Friends, and she's all, put on Ross. I'm like, what's Ross? She's like, Friends. I'm like,
she likes dinosaurs. Ross likes dinosaurs, therefore your daughter likes Ross.
I was like, say Friends. What's Ross? Anyway, Tough Noogies. We're watching Serengeti. Animals of the Serengeti. If you want to reach out to us, send us hate mail. You can do so at waxingtheporpoise.com. And then we're on socials, Twitter, X, whatever, at waxingtheporp. Instagram is at waxingtheporpoise.
I enjoyed the Steven Spielbergo email from last week.
Steven Spielbabo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went in on Steve for sure.
Not quite as good as the Burbs email from me.
That's slanderous nonsense.
Yeah.
Both of those are.
I hope you have diarrhea with the most jalapeno shits or whatever the fuck it's like. Yeah. Jalapeno. Oh, so
those
awesome.
2 times are like in the top 5 hardest I've ever seen Steve laugh for sure.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that Bob's a wordsmith when it comes to written word. When he writes an email, he writes a pretty wicked email.
Yeah, he does, man.
I want to make sure I stay on the good side of Bob.
Lest you be at the end of the $1 million mouthpiece. All right.
I mean,
cool. Next week,
his opinions are dog shit. But,
whoa! I mean, on Alien, it is. They are. I gotta agree with that, Steve.
Yeah, he
4.5
would say
for
it
Alien.
has room to grow.
Taking you to task, bro. Room to grow. You know what's got room to grow, Bob? My dick.
Is that an insult or?
I don't know.
I'm still growing. Joke's on you.
I'm growing, not a shower.
All right, that's gonna do it for us. I'm gonna cue us up here. I'm gonna hit the post with a little ditty about Prestique, anti-depression pills. So,
oh hell yeah!
Enjoy. Join us next week. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. It's chaotic. It'll be something dope though. So we'll see you when we see you, and we'll see you later.